the end of the day, we make decisions, some good, some bad, but we all pushing for things we never had.
Ordinary people with extraordinary ways.
Yeah.
Everyday people trying to make a way.
It's just us.
Ordinary people with extraordinary ways.
Yeah.
Trying to make a difference step by step each day.
It's just us.
Hi, welcome to It's Just Us. I'm your host, Charlene Bowden. I am so glad that you're here with us tonight, streaming live on AtlantaWebcastLive.com. You know, before I introduce my guest, we're looking for a great show tonight. We're going to have a wonderful guest with me, but before I do that, so many people ask me about my journey. How did you end up with It's Just Us? So let me share just a little bit before I introduce my guest. So as a young adult, I always felt that I did not measure up, like I did not fit in. I was a divorced mother of 3. I was working all the time, sometimes 2 jobs, just trying to make ends meet. I was always struggling to lose weight, but never felt like I had enough time, enough money, enough love. And so I created this platform for ordinary people, just like me, to come and to share their authentic stories in an effort to help motivate and encourage others to not give up on their journey. And I wonder how many people out there like me that might need a place like this. So here we are. It's just us. And joining me today is my guest, someone who has been so intricate, an intricate part of my journey. Joining me is Miss Hilda Willis, producer, director, performing artist. Hilda has given 20 years or so of her life in helping other people to live their art under her brand, Living Your Art. So I am so happy to have Hilda joining me tonight to let you know more about her work. Hilda Willis, welcome to It's Just Us.
Hey, Charlene.
Hey, Hilda Willis. I'm so glad you're here.
You know, I would rather be behind the scenes, but I'm here for my sister, partner, friend. I am so proud of you.
Oh.
And thank you for choosing me to be on this show.
Absolutely. Thank you for allowing me to roll with you. We rode together like that.
Together. We down like 4 flat tires.
Yeah, absolutely. So Hilda, New York, Atlanta, California, international, North Carolina. You've been all over working and doing your work, living your art. But what brought you here to do your work?
To Atlanta.
To Atlanta.
This particular body of work, Living Your Art, I'll say, I had a Living Your Art client because I had come to Atlanta off and on for years as a performing artist. Mm-hmm. But I was working with Jane Fonda in 1997. She had come to New York and sought me out to look at what she was doing in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. She had a passion for young people. And after so many years in California working with young people, she wanted to continue that work, but she got to Atlanta and realized that there was a disconnect. And so she asked me to come in and do an assessment. So I worked with her for about 2 years. And then she asked me to move here, and I said, absolutely not. And she stayed on me for about 9 months. And then we gave birth to this thing called Performing Arts Program for Youth. And that is how I got here, May 1999.
Okay.
Yes, so it's, yeah, she's what got me here.
She got you here. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad she got you here because we would not have met. Well, we may have met, but it might have took a little bit longer for us to meet if you hadn't gotten here.
I would have had to wait until you declared yourself as an artist and an entrepreneurial.
See, you went there.
I went there.
Early to go there.
Okay, all right, okay. But we did meet.
We did meet.
In the music industry of all places. At CSAC.
Yes. Wow.
How many years?
7, 8 years or so.
Or so?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a long, wonderful journey walking this out with you.
Thank you. Yes, it has.
Yeah.
And we've done a lot of collaboration. Well, I rode with you first.
You did.
And then we advanced to doing some collaborative work together.
But you were CSB Management Group then.
Yes.
So.
I'm still CSB Management Group. But I was really CSB Management Group only. Then. Yeah. I was only CSB Management Group, and that's what got me at CSAC. I was just out trying to network, find other people in the music industry, and it was Capriccio. Introduced, well, he didn't introduce me to you, but he introduced me to the event at CSAC. And there was this woman there, and she was just talking, and I'm just sitting way in the back. Let me just say, I was in the back of the room, sitting there, just listening to this woman pour out to all these people, and was saying only what God had told, that he only knew that I had said to him. And then I knew that I had to be a part of whatever it was you had going on. So I told Hilda I wanted her to be my mentor. She told me I was too old.
Oh, Charlene, you said that.
I did say that.
But that was the truth. I said that. It wasn't that you were too old, but I did say that.
She said I was too old to to be mentored. However, I could be a part of her processes and her projects, and that's what we did.
Right. The funny thing about it is that we met in a music industry networking event.
Right.
But the first thing you did with me was live theater in New York.
Yes.
And that's really the greatest stretch I think you could have made at that point of your journey.
Absolutely.
To go from CSB Management Group to being responsible for artists like Ruby Dee and Lou Gossett Jr. and Alan Alda. So you made a big impression in my community of artists.
Yeah.
And I knew then that you were someone that I wanted to continue working with.
Wow, thank you for that.
You are welcome.
You got to share more about the event. What were we doing in New York? So
Ozzie
the Ozzie
Davis.
Davis Endowment for the Arts.
Yes.
Fund program.
Yes, Ozzie Davis Endowment for Education.
Education.
Yes.
Okay. Share more. What was the event? I know that you were doing a tour.
Yes.
Of several cities.
So Ozzie had passed, and Alan Alda and Burt Reynolds, in managing their grief, went to Miss D and said, what can we do to keep his passion, his work alive? And it had just been that a piece that he had written, The People of Clarendon County, was found at the Schomburg. And he had written that piece in the 50s as his response to what was going on with segregation and that whole part of our history. And so one of the things that they decided was to do a celebrity reading of that work as a way to raise funds to send children to Howard on a full ride scholarship.
Wow.
And so that allowed me to align my professional work with my passion for education. And so that's where that started.
Yeah.
And we have proudly sent about 6 students on full rides to colleges of their choice. So
That's great.
Yes.
Yeah. It was great being a part of that. And like you said, that was wow, that's one of the moments I think I will never forget. Just being in the room with those artists, with those people as well. They just poured so much of themselves out in that event. That was great. And my first trip to New York, oh my gosh.
Was that your first trip?
That was my first trip. And it was winter. So I had all of that experience in New York. Absolutely. So theater, and you touch so many disciplines, artistic disciplines. Let's talk about your work in the music industry, which is kind of where we met. And just share some of your latest projects in music.
My latest project actually would have been the release of India Ari's Songversation. So as her creative director, I'm responsible for designing what that show looks like, the lights, the show order, how the band is positioned, her wardrobe, the choreography. But she and I have worked together for, I met her when she was 24 and she's about to be 40. So she's my baby.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she's getting ready to release her first Christmas album, October 19th.
I'm so excited.
Yes.
Oh.
I'll have to let you hear a sneak preview of the music.
Yay.
Because you're Charlene, and it's just us.
It's just us. Yay. I got to share this. I wasn't going to say this, but I got to share this. When I met you, that was, I don't know why I told you this, but out of all the artists out here, and maybe I shouldn't say it because...
Say it. Say it.
I so appreciated India because she was one artist that I could listen to with my children in the car and not turn the volume up and down, because her lyrics were something that I wanted poured into my girls. You know, and I just told you that. It's like, and I don't know what question you asked me, but I said, I would love to meet India Ari. And you had this look like, okay, because you're very protective of your relationships.
Very protective. I am.
But I didn't know that you worked with India. And I just love telling that story, so thank you for letting me tell this story.
Well, you know, the funny part is, you're welcome. The first collaboration between CSB Management Group and Living Your Art on that level of artistry was a Black Girl song where one of your artists was cast by me to be in that piece that was developed for India. So that was really our first professional collaboration.
Yes, it was.
Before you blew up. Well, you blew up.
Did I blow up?
Duh.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Let's talk more about Living Your Art and what Living Your Art is and what it does. But in thinking about Living Your Art, I won't ask you, to describe it or tell people what it is per se, but I want to talk about your challenges. What have been some of your greatest challenges?
My greatest challenge is living my art?
Your greatest challenge is living your art. Your greatest challenges, yeah.
Let me start by saying one of the reasons that my brand is called Living Your Art is because I have lived through this process. I've been a professional working artist since I was 11. And so I can speak to what it is to experience this profession from a preteen to a teen to a young adult to 20, 30, 40, 50, something like that. Probably my first challenge as an artist was being the first of my brothers and sisters to be integrated. So here I was, an artist, going to what they call middle school now, but back then it was junior high school, already an established artist, and auditioning just to find out that there were no creative works that supported children of color. And dealing with the resentment that came being cast in the first piece in the history of Woodrow Wilson Junior High School. Having a little Black girl play the lead in an operetta. So that was just not heard of. So that helped me decide what my vision and mission would be for an artist. To help create a safe space for whomever needed a platform to just present and be their authentic self.
Yeah, and then somewhere in the course of your time came this woman again with this pregnant woman who had this vision in her, this mission in her, just because of who she was and wanted to figure it out. And then here you come. And It's Just Us was birthed out of me through you helping me to deliver her. And so you came on with my radio show initially. Oh, goodness, that's been 8 years as well. So, wow.
So we've been together for about 10 years,
Yeah.
almost a decade.
Oh my goodness.
It's funny that you mentioned being pregnant, because that's also a major benchmark in an artist's life, particularly a female. If at some point, whether it's a mortgage or a child or a husband or going back to school or whatever it is, life continues.
Yeah.
And learning is limitless, but it's also personal. And the moment that I decided to become a mother, I had to figure out how to remain a performing artist and stay committed to that thing that I was all by my lonesome down here minding my own business, doing my dance.
Yeah.
And then my son decided he wanted to come through. And so a challenge, one which would have a lot of people go to their B plan or backup plan. So for you to enter, or our paths to cross, and you describe where you were in your life being pregnant and needing to give birth, I can get my brain around that all day. I actually did not work a lot with women before I moved to Atlanta. Most of my major clients, nationally, internationally, and locally, were men. Women would struggle with giving themselves permission to be their authentic creative self. So I was waiting for you and a lot of women like you who had just gotten to the point where they would say, I don't know, but I want more than I've ever wanted before, because this really is my ministry.
Yeah, absolutely is.
Put me behind a pulpit and I don't know. But no, I really think this is my ministry, and you model everything that this show is about. Every single thing that this show is about, you model that.
Don't make me cry.
Don't, okay.
I leak easily.
So silly. So do you okay?
I'm okay. Continue.
All right. Okay.
Yes, I'm good.
All right.
Yeah, so the radio show was my first, she was my first child, if you will. And out of her came this vision of, it was from an interview that I did with 3 women for International Women's Month. And kind of like what I'm doing now, I'm getting emotional and just trying to fight back the tears. In radio, that's a pause. It's dead space. So people are like, oh gosh, I lost my signal or I lost whatever, because it's internet-based. But it was just us being real in that moment, like you shared. So we had conversations started, and then here we are with the talk show. So people can actually see what goes on. When I get quiet and you hear sniffing, then you know it's just me leaking again. And then you came and assisted in a major way with the talk show, and here we are today.
And I think, we don't get anywhere by ourselves. We're lying to ourselves if we think we do. Our egos are way too big. But I just remembered that in looking at your list, going back to your first project, CSB Management Group, and then who were your associate partners? Where were those relationships and resources? And, you had Aubrey, you had Robert. And so, my position was to just stand behind you and help you negotiate those relationships and say yes. So Aubrey's help with the radio show, and then Robert is producing and editing and listening, and heard something and said, aha.
Yeah.
So.
And we did, and actually we are here back at Van Gogh Studios where we did the pilot.
We did a pilot.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And you know what? That was the first supervising producer role that I had played, but I didn't know who else to get to do the role, because I was the closest to you. Can we play a clip of that first pilot show? Just a clip?
I hope so. I'd love to see it with you. We hadn't really sat and watched it together. We've just been rocking and rolling.
Right.
So let's watch it?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever thought about the things that just keep us divided as a nation, and just wondering about the changes in people and what they're going through? We have our expert here with us today, Mr. Dana Smith. He is an internationally known diversity trainer. Dana, thank you so much for being here. I'm excited about you being here because your work in the world and in our community is so on point with what I want to do with this show here. It's Just Us show. So thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me, Charlene. It's good to see you again, and to both of you as well. I mean, I was just too excited to be here, just dealing with these issues of diversity and talking about how they just pertain to all issues. And you were just touching on that issue of the workforce, preparing our children. We've got names, millennials, the baby boomers, you name it. We've got issues of age and culture and background. All of that comes into our workplace, even what you choose as a career. Fortunately, my career finally found me. This is my work and the passion that I have behind the work, because I've seen so much change happen in a positive way. But what's missing is what you're offering here, which is a forum of diverse voices so we can address these issues. So I'm really proud to be a part of your process.
Yeah, glad you're here. Wow.
Lauren, Sam, and Dana.
A man named Dana.
A man named
A
Dana.
man named Dana. Yep. We had so much fun.
We did.
That was a great day. 3 years ago. Wow. And we're back, and I'm excited to be back. But before we run out of time,
Okay.
I've got to give you time to talk about more of what's coming up with you. So I know that you're living now in North Carolina, but you're still producing all over the world. I'm just going to put that out. All over the world. But specifically, you have some things going on in New York, North Carolina, and of course here. Share more.
So I guess my most recent work in Atlanta, because we are in Atlanta, and Atlanta has been good to me and good for me. I guess my latest theatrical work was with Kenny Leon's True Colors. I opened the season 2 year before last with Spunk, and at Theatrical Outfit in May, a new gospel musical. It's hot. Called Baptism by Fire. So we meet with the producers tomorrow to look at a tour of that.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yes. And I am in residence with the Weber School. So that's a wonderful project. I love those babies over there. And I guess my latest New York project was the August Wilson monologue competition on Broadway, and did a dance concert with 300 dancers.
Wow.
That was a lot. That's New York. California, there's another piece I worked on that will be moving to California hopefully in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
North Carolina is Hilda's place where art lives.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
Hilda's
yes, yes. Where art lives.
Yes. Have some of my best times in North Carolina. And gotta say, it's in Pilot Mountain,
Oh, yes.
North Carolina,
Pilot Mountain on Main Street.
on Main Street.
Only black woman that has a business on Main Street in 2015. That's a little bit, that's exciting.
Yes. That's wonderful.
Interesting and exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've had some great success already, some wonderful partnerships with the people in Pilot Mountain in Winston-Salem, where the National Black Theater Festival is. That's home for me, and North Carolina. And I have an opportunity to work with my son, which I haven't had that chance in 10 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've collaborated with some stuff with the radio station, and we're having a great time.
Yeah. Just dancing and living your art.
Yes, and I'm waiting for It's Just Us to come and do some live remote programming with me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, we will do that. You know that.
But of course.
But of course, darling. But of course. I have to ask you, and I don't know where this is going to come from within you. What advice would you give to someone who is trying to live their art, whatever that is for them? It may not necessarily be that they're trying to sing or that they're trying to dance, because like you mentioned earlier on, I wasn't trying to be an artist when I came to you, but clearly I was a creative person. What advice would you give?
Well, I think the first thing I would say to anyone is that we are all creative beings. And your art, as far as I'm concerned, is whatever you're passionate about. I work in the arts and all the disciplines because I'm an artist. And I was either going to be a nurse or a teacher, and figuring out how I was going to be that and an artist, I just created and crafted my life in such a way that I could minister and heal and have fun. So I really lucked out. The first thing I would do would be to look for someone that you aspire to be like or to be mentored by. And speak up. Do your homework, your research, and be prepared to go to work. It doesn't jump on you like the Holy Ghost. There's only one thing that does that, and that's the Holy Ghost. Everything else requires for you to put in. I tell people if you take 100% of the coaching, you'll get 100% of the result. If you only put 50% in, you're only going to get 50% out. So declare it. It is your divine will, and will it to be so. I can't say it any other way than that. I don't have all the answers. I'm not the right fit for everybody. Like I said earlier, learning is limitless, but it's also personal. I've been asked, how does my work compare to other people? It doesn't. There's room for us all, We just have to be bold enough to ask the Creator for what we want and realize that if it's a passion in our heart, then He put it there. And everything is possible.
Yeah, yeah. Living witness to that. And I want to thank you in front of the world, Hilda.
Ooh, in
Yes,
front of the
in front
world.
of the entire world.
I'm a digital immigrant. So, live streaming means that we have positioned this interview to be seen all over the world.
All over
Got
the world.
you. I'm glad you
Yes.
didn't explain that to me before I agreed to do it.
Well, I didn't want to because I wanted to have a moment to thank you again in front of the world for being a part of my journey, for leading the way, for walking beside me when it was time to be beside, for pushing me when I needed the push, the kicks, the shoves. Ooh, thank you.
Your
so
mom
much.
is in the house.
My
Don't say I
mother is-
kicked and shoved you because
Well,
I did not.
I'll let her deal with you afterwards. Since you mentioned my mother, I have got to take this last few minutes to give a shout out to the It's Just Us village. It takes a village to do what we do. You want to help me do this? Because I don't want to leave anybody out.
Okay.
Okay, so I got to read because I won't want to leave anybody out. But if I do leave you out, I do love you so much. Joe Phillips, Robert Williams, Aubrey Padmore, Victoria Smith, Jeremiah Griffin, a man named Dana Smith, Lauren Lopez de Asua, Sam Welton, Enrica Hardeman, Kadira Sharif, Kellen Malone, Jerry Meeks, Miss Kizzy Leiter, graphic artist, Lakita Garrett, Jordan DeVoe, Vashti Powell, Robbie, Shell, and Buster, Mr. Gareth Hunter. I think that's everybody on my list. Let's see, I have to thank
Jay McClendon Jones with Area.
Jay Jones, yes. Anybody else you can think of?
Tri-Cities High School.
Tri-Cities High School, Carrot Voice Radio.
Yes.
The Carrot Voice Radio family, got to include everybody in the family. Val White, he was one of the audio producers for this radio show. And want to thank Cynthia Dix, who is the co-owner and the EP, the executive producer of It's Just Us Productions. It's Just Us Productions. And I want to thank Hilda Willis, who is the supervising producer of It's Just Us Talk Show. And I want to thank my mom and my dad. And my children. And my grandbaby little people for all of your love and your support. Thank my sister and my nieces and everybody that it takes to make all of this happen, whether it's just us or it's just me or it's just you and us and all of that combined. Your contact information before we wrap up.
Can we shout out to Nini, please?
Yes.
I love you, Nini.
Yes.
My contact information is Hilda Willis, www.hildawillis.com, www.livingyourart.com,
Yes.
www.pappyonline.org.
.org, yes.
Hilda's Place in Pilot Mountain. You can find me on Facebook.
And you still on Twitter? You still tweet?
No,
Oh my gosh, okay.
I need to.
Yes, you do. You really do.
Twitter, Instagram. Okay, so
We got work to do.
we got work to do.
Okay.
So I need to appeal to CSB Management Group to manage that part of.
We want to thank you so much for tuning in to It's Just Us Talk Show. To contact us, you may visit our website at itsjustustalkshow.com. You may email me at itsjustustalkshow@gmail.com. We are on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Please reach out to us. Please follow us. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you have any guest considerations or show ideas, you may email those to us as well. I don't have anything else I want to say.
I would say if you need a life coach, not a life coach, that's a lot of work. If you need a career coach,
you're looking for a director or
Yeah.
someone to do to produce, because I am a producing body as well, check me out. We'll
Yes.
sit and talk and see if it makes sense.
Yes. Yeah, and if you didn't get her information, you've got my information. I can get you to her, and sometimes she likes it that way. Anyway.
Yes, I prefer it that way.
We've had a great time tonight. We hope you have enjoyed the show. Again, please reach out to us. All of our links are on the website, itsjustustalkshow.com. Until next time, I hope that you will continue to happen to life. Take good care.
It's just ordinary people with extraordinary ways.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyday people trying to make a way.
It's just
ordinary people with extraordinary ways.
Yeah, yeah.
Trying